Blizzard officially announces new expansions for Diablo 4. Sounds good. I want new classes. It's going to be amazing.
Diablo 4 needs a big announcement. The content's drying up a little bit for people, and even
True.
myself have been streaming other games. I'm live now checking out the competition for Diablo 4, so if you want to see what the other ARPGs look like, you can find me, and I'll have that link down below in the pinned comment as well as
Okay.
description. But we did just receive a fairly large announcement about the history and future of Diablo series, so let's go ahead and get into that. We'll be adding annual expansions to Diablo 4. Now, on this announcement, this actually
Annual expansions, which means we're going to be getting a new expansion per year. So essentially, they're just adding like a pay-to-play subscription for probably like $50 every year. I don't know how to feel about that. What's going to happen to the people who don't want to play the new expansion because they think the game is still not in a good position? And they skip an expansion? And then they go, then they want to play the next expansion, but now they have to pay double for it. I think that's going to be horrible.
actually gave me mixed feelings, which I want to explain to you now. So first, let's explain what's going on. This is an interview by Dextero. If you want to read the full thing, as usual, I will have my sources linked down below. Now, Diablo 4 GM confirms annual expansions for the game.
Diablo 4 has GMs? What?
Now, if you are not familiar what an expansion exactly is to the Diablo franchise, this would be like Lord of Destruction for Diablo 2 or Reaper of So for Diablo 3.
Sad.
Effectively, these are purchasable portions of new content, which very often mean they are mandatory if you wish to play a live service game at the peak with everybody else. You pretty much always buy these expansions.
Yep.
For instance, when World of Warcraft was constantly launching expansions, there were some people that didn't buy Lich King that stayed in Burning Crusade, but not very many. Like the people that are actually playing the game, they're all going to buy these expansions.
Yeah.
This does sort of make sense because, as we know,
I don't think you even have an option anymore, by the way, to not buy the new expansion of World of Warcraft. I'm pretty sure those days are long gone.
Oh, in the campaign, it leaves at sort of a cliffhanger. Yes, we kill Lilith, but no, we do not have all of the big bads out of the way. So, what exactly...
I mean, the big bads literally regenerate their existence. It's like pretty hard to get rid of them, you know? The most efficient way of dealing with them, the Soul Stone, is kind of shit, honestly, if you think about it. So yeah, the story's not finished.
Exactly did they say for annual expansions? Well, take a look here. This is Rod Ferguson, an answer to the question about asking what exactly the future of Diablo 4 looks like. He said,
Okay. Let's place bets right now, by the way. Will a single developer of the new expansion actually playtest the expansion for more than 3 seconds? My bet is no. No, they won't.
Says, but you know, it's years and years. That's the thing we're focused on. When you look at the launch of the game and this first season, we see that building a foundation on which can build for the future. So as we look at our quarterly seasons and we look at our annual expansions, those are things we're really focused on for our live service. We've got plans. We have storylines that go well into the future. We've got plans. We're always leapfrogging our seasons and leapfrogging our...
I don't know. Considering this was the first Diablo game where I skipped the story, I'm not sure how sold I am on the story. Like, the only thing I didn't skip was the big cinematics and a couple of dialogues from the drunk guy and a couple of the dialogues from the well, fat guy and Mephisto. Mephisto was awesome.
Our expansions. So it's something we are going to do for a long time. We're excited. He continues with, when you look back and realize that there were 11 years between Diablo 3 and Diablo 4, that feels like we didn't live up to our players, our community, and what they deserve. That's something we are rectifying in Diablo 4 with our seasons and our expansions. Effectively, what they want is a slow bleed-in of content so that there will always be a next expansion, a next season, a new update. They don't want you to feel like the updates are 11 years in between, which is fair enough. Now, I have...
In reality, they just want to keep you playing and engaged. They just want to dangle the carrot on the stick in front of you constantly and say, hey, you don't like what's currently happening in this expansion? Well, there's a new expansion coming, and after that there's even a better expansion coming. But I didn't like this expansion and the previous 5 expansions. Don't you worry, there's so many This is how they try to get you to stick around forever, essentially. They're just constantly dangling a carrot on the stick and saying, ooh, this will change things finally. It's gonna be great. You just have to wait a little bit longer.
Somewhat mixed opinions on this, admittedly. First of all, I like to hear new content is coming to the game. That is always going to be something I am going to enjoy, considering my firm opinion right now is there is not currently enough content in the game for me to want to log in every single day. And I am playing Path of Exile. I've been very clear about this. So for me, when they announce that, yes, there will be new expansions, I think, great. That means there will be new content. But a part of me also...
Okay. Let's stop for the small questions and ask the real questions. What the fuck is this? So... if you can see this hair, I don't know what this is supposed to be, hair, beard, or whatever. So his hair is going like this down, right? Like this down, and suddenly there's a strand that goes like this. How does this make sense? And this one right here, is he like a Medusa, only less hot? How is this a thing? How is this possible? This hair makes no sense. How is it there? I need answers.
Also thinks that, hey, this new content that we should be adding in the game should be fixing the original game. The focus should be right now on actually adding into the content that me and the other consumers have already spent our money on purchasing. And while expansions will be great to add content into the game, I do not feel like I want to spend additional money to add content into a game that I feel like is already incomplete. Essentially what I'm saying is I hope the solution to the lack of in-game in Diablo 4 is not by selling us another expansion to the game. To be fair to Rod, that is not what he said is happening.
Well, to be fair, that's even what Cyberpunk 2077 is now doing. And Cyberpunk is becoming a good game. Also, if you actually notice, there's like this trend that games that were 10 years back and are still live now have become slowly good because of the content that has been added. And modern day games that are released are requiring literally minimum 5 years to actually become playable. It is insane.
He says they are looking at quarterly seasons. This was the first thing he mentioned, which are every 3 months. And we look at our annual expansions. So he does mention both of them in tandem. I also prefer transparency and honesty with what it is they're working on in games like these. So when they come out and say, yes, we're going to be doing an expansion every year, I see that as a form of communication. So I prefer them telling us that instead of just selling us expansions every single year. I am also not opposed to the concept of purchasing.
Oh, also, look at that. He's in blue, I'm in blue.
Expansions. As long as the original base game has enough value in it and the additional expansion adds enough that it justifies the price of a new expansion, I will purchase expansions in games. I don't feel like...
I don't know. Diablo 3 added the Necromancer as a playable class, right? And it costs $20. And there was literally nothing new that those $20 added except the Necromancer. So, they just need to add a class and a new place to visit, and that's like $50 easy. It's gonna be great.
Like I was ever ripped off paying for expansions in World of Warcraft, for instance, as that is a live service game that I enjoyed very much. It also had a subscription fee within the game. So when I bought Burning Crusade, when I bought Lich King, when I bought, well, let's admit Cataclysm, not as much, but when I bought the expansions, I wasn't necessarily disappointed with what they had to offer, but they had major storylines, they had major raids, new items, level cap increases, etc. So if I'm going to purchase additional expansions within the Diablo 4 universe, I'm expecting the same level of delivery. I would also hope the manpower is currently focused on the seasons. The first seasons were lackluster, meaning that going into Season 2, it needs to be better than Season 1. And Season 3 would need to be better than Season 2. We have a long ways to go to have a fully developed competitive game within the ARPG space.
Everyone knows Season 2 is going to be shit. And Season 3 is slowly going to actually, probably trickle 1/10 of a good thing. The fact that we know for a fact that Diablo 4 is not going to be fun for at least a year at this point is crazy, by the way.
For that reason, I'm hoping the focus is on fleshing out this game. I know they have a bajillion employees, so they can probably do both at the same time. It would make sense. But I would like to see the original core game be fully fleshed out before I spend more money purchasing an expansion for a game. An interesting point of data here from a GameSpot article says that Diablo 3's expansion, Reaper of the Souls, sold 2.7 million units, which at the time Diablo 3 had sold 15 million units. So it was a 1-to-5 conversion ratio. Considering that Diablo 4 was the highest selling Blizzard product of all time, if they sell another 20% of those consumers an additional X-Pack, it would make sense as to why they are focusing on creating them annually. I'm not opposed to them continuing to sell products to a live service game. I am of the opinion that if a game is good, I will give it enormous amounts of my money. The name is Darth Microtransaction. In Path of Exile, I've only played the game a month, and I am $600 into that game.
That's a lot of dollars. Dude, imagine. Imagine how many prostitutes you can get for that much kachinga. Imagine how much dark age heroin you can get for that. You know, you can get so much good shit, boy, for that. And he spent it on... He's not joking, boys. He ain't joking. Well, admittedly, he also lives in Alaska, where, you know, the closest prostitute probably is a polar bear or something like that, which is not probably ideal. So, you know, options.
Why? Because I believe it deserves the support. It is a good game that I am enjoying immensely, and it also continues to get better. So I don't feel worse with my purchase as time goes on. I feel better with my purchase as time goes on. I am willing to
admittedly, PoE has also missed expansions pretty easily.
Give Diablo 4...
Like, admittedly, PoE doesn't miss expansions as much as just, you know, player base is split on what's a good expansion and what's not. For example, the last expansion before this, with Forge, whatever it was called, I didn't like it. I didn't play it. I like quit at level 20. I got bored. I didn't like the expansion at all. But previously, like Lake of Kalandra, people hated that. I fucking loved the Lake of Kalandra. I thought it was fun.
For the same level of consideration. If these expansions continue to come out and they are big deliveries every year of big chunks of new main story. The campaign was quite good in Diablo. I do think I got my money's worth from playing Diablo's the campaign. If the campaign story with good cutscenes and everything is the same, I will be willing to give it some more money into the game.
Well, it's not going to be Baldur's Gate, that's for sure.
Will be. I'm probably not going to buy the Battle Pass. I'm not buying the Battle Pass every season right now. I don't think the cosmetics alone are going to be worth it, but the Battle Pass isn't mandatory, and there's no subscription fee within the game. So I am willing to give it some additional money. However, I say however, my concern is that the solutions to the complaints right now within Diablo need to be hounded down and figured out in the game that people have originally already purchased. We should not sell the solution to it.
Yeah, that was my complaint. Like, Season 2 is literally gonna be they're just selling you a bug fix as a feature of the season, which is gonna be stupid.
Incomplete product by selling the more complete product.
And in typical Blizzard fashion, like they are doing in World of Warcraft, you know, where it's like, oh, new expansion, well, what kind of borrowed power system are we getting now here? And what, our old system is going away, but we're gonna get the same exact type of system to play with. It's gonna be great. And you know what? That's bad. That shouldn't be the way Diablo 4 handles things, you know? It's like, first we had Malignant Hearts, and now we're gonna have Malignant Vampire Powers that are gonna be the exact same crap. Maybe one class is gonna have a cool and interesting vampire power, and that's literally gonna be it. That's not good in my honest opinion.
There's one man's opinion. So if they would like to get someone like me to purchase the expansion, show delivery of an otherwise good original product that I purchased and make me satisfied with the original product within your next few seasons, and then sell me the addition to that product in which the original product I am satisfied with. As it currently stands, I think a lot of people are not satisfied with the original product.
Yep.
So selling an expansion early, in my opinion, before we wrap up and finish the original product would be a mistake. However, they say annual expansions. They didn't say the next expansion is coming.
Also, how the fuck does this actually... How are they gonna do this? It's like... Is the new expansion gonna drop with every 5th season? No, with every is it every 4th season? You know, how is that gonna work? Is the expansion gonna drop with the new season in tandem? Because that seems like a waste of that seems like a waste of development. You know, imagine, like, okay, let's see, at the start of the new year, you usually have a new expansion, a new season, but now you're gonna have an expansion and a season? That seems not like something that's gonna work, because why have a season and expansion at the same time? It makes literally no sense in my honest opinion. Like, what the fuck? So when are they gonna actually release the new expansion? Is it gonna be like mid-season? That seems stupid. So the current 4 seasons per year and 1 expansion thing, I don't think even works on works in reality. It doesn't even work on paper. So instead of a season, which is pretty much, honestly, let's be real, like slightly the equivalent of an expansion, you're gonna get an expansion that you have to pay for instead of a season that's free. Interesting. I wonder how this is gonna actually work out.
Right now, annual would be at a minimum of another 8 months from now. In 8 months, we could have a pretty solid banger of a game if they grind out and fix all of the complaints that we've been seeing, add new itemization. We know new bosses are coming in Season 2, etc. So in 8 months, when the next expansion maybe will come out, which will be a year at that point, we can look back and see, is the original product created one that I feel satisfied with my purchase, and do I believe they are deserving of additional purchases? If that is the case at the time, then you will see me purchasing the expansion. That was my mixed feelings upon seeing the announcement that we saw about this annual expansion here, and I don't think it's that big of a deal that they're coming out with expansions. I know there was some pushback by some people.
I mean, if they add a paladin, I'm gonna be happy. If they add a crusader, I'm gonna be happy. If they add an Amazon, I'm gonna be happy. If they add an assassin, I'm gonna be happy. If they add a witch doctor, yeah, I'm gonna still be happy. You know, I'm completely okay with new classes. And, you know, a new part of the continent. But I'm afraid that they're gonna do it the classic Blizzard way, where they're gonna be like, okay, here's the new part of the continent. It's the most important thing ever, and only this small chunk of the content now matters because it's expansion Blizzard time. Blizzard does this constantly. It's like they release a new continent and congratulations. Everything you have done until that point, until the new release, becomes instantaneously worthless. I don't want that to happen in Diablo.
That the game's not finished and they're already announcing expansions. They said annual, so we're talking 8 months, which means by then they should have 4 seasons completed. And if they can't get the game fixed in 4 seasons, you know what to do about buying the expansion. That is just one man's opinion.
True.
Love you all. See you on the next video.
It's a pretty good opinion, my dude. It's a pretty good opinion, let's be real. Anyway, that was DM, also known as, well, mainly known as Skittles in the World of Worlds. And I was Quasar7. Amazing, am I right? Anyway, this was Quasar7. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.